I do.
I might. I won't start with it, I promise. There we go. We are live. All right. Hold on one second. I love that, like, I'm like, okay, hold on. Gosh. Hello, Facebook Live audience. If you're watching the intro of this, it's like so insane because there's such a lag on the video that I hear myself like talking back. It starts like recording like way before it actually shows us it's recording. I just like realized when I was on the Facebook Live, I'm like wiping my nose and you can like see it on the Facebook Live, which is perfect. Like, I think I've nailed Facebook Live this week. Like, I've stepped in cat pee during a Facebook Live and I've now wiped my nose on Facebook Live. It's perfect. Like, basically killing it. But if you're joining, so let me click on this really quick. It's got to auto populate on my phone. I'm gonna click on it so I can see the comments. Oh, look, we already have comments. I love that. Hey, Tamika. Hey, Jenny. Good morning, darling. What's up, Lindsay Dotzlaff? Hi, Brittany. Hey, Brandy. Oh my gosh, you have so many people sending you all the love. Yeah. Okay, so most of these people know who you are because you're in Diva Business School and you work with some of the girls. Hey, Chrissy. Hey, Rebecca. But for people who don't know you on Facebook Live, introduce yourself. Who are you and how did you find me? Let's start there. Instead of what do you do, let's start with how you found me.
Yeah, so my name is Elizabeth Salazar, and I found you because I was listening to Brooke Castillo's podcast. I'm addicted. Every Thursday, I'm like, new one's out. And one day, I looked at what the new podcast was, and it was like a 2-hour-long podcast, and I was like, yay, 2 hours instead of 20 minutes. I was so excited. And you were one of the people she was interviewing as one of her $100,000 successes. And I've listened to that podcast like 10 times because I just keep listening to it. And I mean, when I listened to your story and it just kind of stood out to me and I was like, okay, I've got to go and find out more about this person. Where can I find her? And that started the series of value that you poured into my life so that the first time, maybe the second time that you invited me to work with you, it's like, here you go. Here's all my monies.
Here's all my monies. I love how many people have said that to me. Here's all my monies. I love it. Okay, so really quick, I want to say hi to some people. Brandy says, I feel like Elizabeth is everywhere right now. That's a good thing. Hey, Amanda. Hey, Amy. Hey, Jackie. Okay, so what do you do? Tell everybody, why are you everywhere right now?
What do? I do marketing. So I help my clients to launch. I help my clients build funnels. I help clients market their business. I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to ask me that. I don't know the answer.
You basically help your clients with digital marketing.
Yes, I do.
Which is the thing I hate.
And I mean, and that's kind of the fun part.
Yeah.
Is I work with people who hate digital marketing.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's actually what you do. I work with people who hate digital marketing, but need it in their lives. Yes. I love that. So what's interesting is, one of the first experiences that you and I had together is I did a coach-a-thon on Facebook Live where I coached people live and I gave people the opportunity to sign up, which I wasn't sure how that would go over because being coached is an intimate thing, right? It's an exposed thing to be willing to put yourself out there in front of everybody to be coached on your business. And you signed up. And one of the things that we talked about on the live was you were still trying to figure out what you were offering and you wanted testimonials. I can't remember the specifics, but I basically said, well, why don't you go find a couple of ideal clients, some like high level influencers and offer to like do something for them for free in exchange for a testimonial. And what's so interesting is I tell people things all the time, all day long. I say, you should go do this. You should go do that. And sometimes they listen and sometimes they don't. And you listened. So how did that work out for you?
It has worked out really well for me. So I have been, I guess the little backstory of that is like, I have been doing Brooke Self-Coaching Scholar for 7 months before meeting you. And I felt like she had told me that before too. And I didn't, I was like, I don't know about that yet. Right. But when you said it, I was like, okay, yes. And I mean, how's it working
That's
out?
so funny.
I have doubled my business in January and February and March. And I mean, it helped me to find my first clients, to get lots of referrals, to, put me in a space where mentally I am. And here's the most amazing part is like, I can't do marketing without mindset. And so doing the mindset pieces of it has allowed me to actually do marketing for myself. So.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. I love that so much. Hey, Joanne. Joanna's saying hi to both of us. What's up, Tiffany and Nikki? Oh my gosh, we have such an amazing crowd of ladies joining us today. Yeah, I think that's incredible. I think that, one of the things I wanted to have you on to talk about is jumping on opportunity, because I think that, you're in the current Diva Business School VIP Mastermind. And one of the things that I've seen you do over and over and over through our working together over just like what? We started in December, so 3 months, 4 months-ish, is take advantage of opportunities to just jump and be super resourceful on so many things. So could you just talk about that? It's not necessarily a question, but can you just kind of talk about how that's evolved for you? Like, how have you, was there a specific shift that happened? Was there, there are people out there that are watching that may not be capitalizing on the amount of opportunity and utilizing the resources they could be utilizing within themselves to capitalize on that opportunity. They may be like not utilizing it the same way that you are. So I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah. So I feel like I am always like a first, like out there and getting out there. So for me,
Ooh, you're like an early adapter.
Oh, not really. Like in a lot of things I'm not, but when it comes to like volunteering, I'm like, ooh, pick me. Right. So I'm very willing to go first, but not like with style or like new things in other areas. Like, I don't know.
All right.
So some things.
Well, no, it's like in your business, I guess that's where you're at. Like, you're like, I'm the one that's going to volunteer all the time.
Yeah. Like when I think about coaching, and I mean, even that first time before we really even knew each other, like there was a level of like, oh my gosh, this is scary. I don't know this person. But on the other hand, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need the help. She's going to help me see something. And I knew even at that time, like, this is my thoughts. And it's like, if somebody can help me see the thoughts that are holding me back, then I need that and it's worth it. And, when we do coaching every week in Diva in the Mastermind, it's like, I have to be very conscious of like, oh my gosh, I always want to volunteer. But like this past week, I'm like, okay, there's so many people, Elizabeth, it's okay to not show up and be coached. Like let other people, like, let's get it from there. So I guess for me, it's really easy to be like, ooh, pick me, because I want that feedback and insight. The other thing is
so good.
I've learned to rely on myself more, because there is a level of like urgency where I'm like, well, I posted in a group. Why isn't Stacey replying? Like, she has to help me, because if she doesn't help me, I'm never going to get through this. I'm just going to have to sit here and be stuck. And I can't tell you how many times I've not just like with posting for you, but like for so many things, right? Like, well, I need to know the answer to this question before I move forward.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the work that I've been doing is just that reliance on like, no, I need to come up with an answer. And when she comes in, because it turns out you are not responsible for replying within 15 minutes or 20 minutes, as my brain thinks maybe you should. So
that's amazing. I have a 15-minute response time always.
My brain.
You know what I love though, is I think in my experience with coaching too, we always think that we need someone to validate the answer right away, very quickly for us. Yeah. And, and sometimes like that answer doesn't get validated, or we don't get, help in that area for maybe an entire day or two. And maybe we are forced to make the decision on our own. And it is really helpful. Like one of the things I pride myself on is helping you girls, like in between, when you need the help, like I'm there. But some of the most transformational things for me have been when I have thought I needed someone to validate it, and I've had to make the decision on my own. And then I've seen the strength, like that builds the strength inside of me. So it's like, it's nice to have that, whether it's before you make the decision or after you make the decision, to have that like help. Like I can always come in and say, well, I would have done this, or I actually love what you did, and next time you can add this to it. But it's also that it's a beautiful thing to find your own answers and find your own, and it's easier to do that, I think, when you know that you have the support. Even if it's gonna be before or after, you still know like someone's got your back. So it's nice to be able to practice doing that on your own. Like I love that.
Yes. Well, and I feel like the way that you have things structured with the Diva Business School, like being in the mastermind and having the other Diva element too. I mean, you do such a good job of coaching via
like
Facebook
the community.
Well, I mean, you're doing trainings in both of them. So it's like, I can show up and be coached, or it's like, if I'm not coached in one, I'm like, oh, I can show up and ask my question here. And, it kind of gives me, because I mean, one of the concepts that Lindsay Mango talks about is like getting what you came for. And so for me, it's like, I want to plan, I want to be prepared and say, what do I need help with this week? And I know, I have 2 opportunities where I'm going to get to coach with you.
Yeah.
I don't just have to post on Facebook and, wait for an answer. Like I have direct opportunity where you're there specifically to answer my questions.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so for people who don't know what she's talking about, I have 2 programs. So I have Diva Business School, and then I have the Diva Business School VIP Mastermind. And in the Diva Business School page, there's the Facebook community with lots of incredible women entrepreneurs like Elizabeth, who, you can go in and post questions. Other people will answer those questions. There's lots of experts of different things in that page. And then I go in there and do lives every week. And then we also have a mastermind group where we have a live call every week. So that's what she's talking about for anyone that might be confused. So yeah, you get tons of access to me. And that's one of the things that I think is super important, because one of the things that, when people ask me what made you so successful, of course, coaching myself made me successful. Of course, mindset, of course, like doing the work and, being willing to take action, being resourceful, being creative, having self-belief, all that stuff. But also I had a coach the whole time that I had lots of access to all of the time. So I was constantly being able to ask those questions and get that help in real time. So I think it's super powerful. But I love what you said about raising your hand and being that person. Joanne is like, I'm like, can we just bring Joanne in on the conversation? She would love to talk about that too. Like, and I thought Julie too, like you, me, Joanne, Julie, like, it's so funny. Julie and I will sit at like the front mastermind. I think Joanne too, when we go to the LCS mastermind, and we'll be like, I want the help. So I think that's like, I always foster that in the group. You've seen me, like I poke and prod people that don't jump after, getting help. And so for anybody that is watching in the live audience, like that is something to take away, is be that person that hogs the time. Like anytime I do a retreat, anytime I do a program, I'm like, be that person that everybody else is like, oh, she's talking again. Be that person, because you all paid the same amount. So just show up, and like, it's not your responsibility to create room for other people to show up. Like your responsibility is for you to show up and play full out. And I think you've done an amazing job of that.
Thank you. And I mean, I think that's so true, because I mean, when we invest in something, what's going to be the difference between us getting our investment back or not, right? Like if we do a course, we're like, well, even if I paid, like, I mean, I've paid $1,000 for courses that I just kind of look at every once in a while, like, oh, I'll just come in and touch it a little and then walk away.
Yep.
But for this, it's like I'm paying thousands of dollars and I'm here to get my investment back. And the way that I'm going to do that, like, I don't know how people do it who don't like stay involved and get in there, because I feel like it's my responsibility to make sure that I am getting what I came for, right? I mean, I say it again, but it's like, it's not your responsibility to make sure that you are here to help me. It's like you're saying, here I am, this is what I can help you with. And it's my job to show up with, this is what I'm like, I'm constantly changing so that I can, ask for the help I need.
I love that. I think what it is when people join and they don't always show up, or they don't always show their faces, they listen in or they watch, but they don't ever like volunteer. It's really just like, I think, we sometimes I think that you're a headstrong woman. And I think that sometimes we take for granted that comes easy for us. Like we don't realize that like we just already have beliefs in place that allow us to stand up and be seen. And not everybody does. And I really do think that that's like, I always say there's like 2 major things you need to do to be successful in business. You need to be able to stand up and be seen, and then believe in your value. And I think that I've always had as like inherent, my willingness to stand up and be seen. And I think that a lot of women have that, but then a lot of people don't. And that's also a process that you can learn that, you know, I always tell people that are in that situation where they know they're not showing up. They know they're not being seen, but it like, if you're just there, eventually you'll get brave enough to do it. It's like, it just takes so much time to learn a new belief, no matter what it is. Like you and I might have a different belief that's going to take us a long time to learn. But we're blessed with the not having that, you know, that willingness to just to go out there and, you know, and to be seen. I think that's such an important thing to know, like for the people that are watching that maybe, you know, are afraid to be seen or aren't being seen. Like it's just because they haven't built that muscle and it wasn't gifted to them naturally, but they might be able to, like, you know, do a blog every week. And that is not something I would be able to do.
Well, and it's not like I show up without doubts, right? Like I did a live stream yesterday and I was like, oh, delete it. That's terrible. Don't. But it's like, so
did you actually delete it?
Yeah. And I was like, I know that this is my thoughts. I know my thoughts are telling me that this is terrible. And I'm like, and God. I choose to believe them.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
You know, I still have doubts. I love it when I tell people in my life that I'm like, yeah, here's all the thoughts that I have, and they're super crazy and they're super like all this. And they're like, oh my gosh, you seem like such a put together person. And I was like, right. No, or confident even. I'm like, you know, I can show up and I can, like, there are certainly things that I am really confident in. And then there's other things that you have helped me to kind of bridge that gap in and realize that it's just a belief gap that, you know, I currently am believing one thing, but if I want to show up more fully, then, you know, I love that you have those 3 areas of belief because I really hold on to that. And I'm like, perfect. I have a formula for exactly what to work on in order to.
So what's that? Tell everybody that.
Yeah. So there's basically 3 areas of belief that I at least pay attention to. Maybe there's more, but it's like our belief in ourselves. So if we're going to show up in our business, we have to believe that we are capable, that we have the skills we need to do it, that we know everything we need to do to show up for our clients, that, you know, one of the things I have is like, I have all the skills I need right now to help my clients do amazing things. Because if I for a minute don't believe that and I'm out searching and I'm like, how can I take another course on digital marketing? Like, you're just going to get lost. You're going to be in the ocean trying to float on a little like bath toy. And you're just going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to drown, because there's no amount of digital marketing. Like I could just be learning that stuff all day, every day and comparing myself to everybody. But the reality is, like, the people that I can help are because of my belief in myself. You know, another area is believing in my tools, right? So believing in marketing, believing that, you know, if somebody like you comes to me and says, I have an amazing mindset, I have an amazing ability to grow business, I have an amazing ability to work with people, but, you know,
I hate marketing,
the scaling and the marketing, like all of that, you're like, and it's like perfect, right? So it's like, I believe that marketing, so that's an area of belief, like believing that marketing can help somebody go, that it's essential to go from one level to another. So believing in my tools. So for coaches, it's believing in coaching. Does coaching work? Do you believe in it? And then the third one is believing in my clients and not taking responsibility. Like if they hire me, like it's not my job to get them the result that they came for. It's their job to show up and take advantage of everything that I give them and to be there for them and to believe that they can make it happen. Because I mean, they're not paying me to doubt them. So my job is to believe in them and, you know, not to work with anybody that I don't believe I can help and is a good fit and that I don't think is going to be wildly successful.
Ooh, I love that. I love that so much. Yes, I do teach that. I was curious. I was like, wait, what 3 things? Yes, I think that's the 3 things that you have to accomplish to have someone buy from you, to sell. Like that's the 3 things that have to happen. Okay, so Lindsay says, oh my God, I text Stacey all the time with questions. And then like 10 minutes later, I respond, never mind, I got it. Lindsay Mango also does that. She'll be like, I have a question about this. And then I'll be like getting ready to respond to her. She's like, never mind, I took care of it. It cracks me up. I love it. And then Brandy says, that's so good. I'm really a pick-me person. I don't know if I realized that. Yeah. Oh, so good. The pick-me person. Like, I feel like we need to have, like, I need to do a podcast about that. Okay. So you have a really cool transformation story or a really cool results story that I like had to have you on so you could tell, because I'm just totally going to like make you tell the story like 50 million times because it's so incredible. It's just like the power of what's possible with coaching. So you showed up. I don't know if you know what I'm about to ask you, but you showed up to a call and to a Diva Business School, like the mastermind call, and you wanted help because you were, still unsure about what you were going to offer and how you were going to offer things for people, because you do so many things. Like, you really do have the ability to help people in so many ways. And so you and I coached on this. And one of the things I said to you was, you could just tailor whatever you offer to the person in the moment. Like, you can just make a decision and decide to offer this. And through I don't even remember the specifics of the coaching, but I just know we coached on a Monday night, and on a Tuesday morning, you signed a $9,000 client. So tell me about that process, or tell everyone about that process. Like, it's such an amazing story, because I've had things happen like that for me, and it's not every day that is not, like, I'm not over here saying, oh yeah, that happens every day in Diva Business School. It really doesn't. It's amazing when it does, but I would love for you to talk about that.
Yeah. So, I've spent the last 2 years, like that thing we coached on that Monday night is something that I have in my business struggled with for 2 years. And I've hired coaches, and I've had very, smart friends that I've asked for their advice on it. And they've always told me a similar thing. And so I think, coupled with that regular mindset work, where it's like I was doing the work, right? And I kind of like to picture it where it's like things have been coming together over the last few months. And it's like the pieces were finally just there. Like, I already had the call booked, right? So the call didn't magically appear. The call was booked. But I was like, I'd already talked to the person, and I was like, I don't know how to structure. And people have told me before, like, just wing it. Every time you talk to somebody, just come up with something new. And I mean, the offer was terrible, like everything, but the value that I had given her before that, and her belief in me, and I don't know what, right? But she knew.
That's so interesting, because you think like the offer was terrible, or that, like you have these like judgments about yourself, right? But for the person that's in pain and in need and needs help, like, what you offer is always enough.
Yeah.
And it's always perfect. Isn't that interesting?
It was. And, it was so amazing to be coached on it in one night, and then have the opportunity to go out and do the work the next day. Because even when I got off the call, I was like, oh, it seems so scary. But I just continued to take those forward actions. Like, even though I was terrified, even though I was uncomfortable with it, I was like, okay, I'm going to have this call. I spent the time before it, like the hour before the call, like just preparing and thinking about things. And it was something I needed to do, like, just to kind of do something about it. And I just spent that time, like, this is the next step. This is what I'm due to do. It's either going to work or it's not. No big deal.
Yeah.
But I made the offer, and it did work. And I
love that, because I think that, so many people struggle with, they can't get to the place that you just said so casually, which was, it's either going to work or it's not. No big deal.
Yeah.
Like, that is really the mindset you have to go into it with, right? Like, every result we make it mean, like, if they say no, I'm never going to make it. It's for sure I'm going to fail forever. Like, I'm dying. I'm actually dying.
Yes.
So we put so much stock in that, and you're just like, okay, so I'm going to try something. I'm going to go out and try something. Like, it's awesome that I get a chance to apply this coaching. I'm going to try it. It's either going to work or it's not. And then what's amazing is, if it hadn't worked, you can come back and coach on it, and we can say, okay, so like, let's examine the parts that did work from it. Like, let's look at the things that didn't work and what you would do differently. And then when you did do it, we were able to come back and celebrate because it did go well, which I think is so amazing. But I just like love that. And I think that that's the key, is you have to be willing to go out and be constantly applying the work, like creating whatever the, situations where you can go out and try the new thing.
Yeah. Well, and I know that you are doing Diva Business School, and I just want to say that it's like, I mentioned this before, but I've been doing Brooke stuff. I've been learning the model. I've been learning how to coach myself. I've been doing all of these things, but it literally wasn't until I joined Diva Mastermind. It wasn't until I made that commitment and said, you know what, this is what I need to do, because I was attracted to like the oppositeness of us, right? Like, you're like 3 minutes late and I'm like 10 minutes early. I mean, you're very like fun and spontaneous. And I'm like, where's the formula? I can figure this out, and so, I'm attracted to that part of you. And I see just in your, my husband today, when he left for work, was like, don't take your shirt off for work today. Don't work topless, because church is praying for us. I was like, okay. But
oh my God, that's so funny.
like, I just see it in my business, you know? And so last year I was doing my accounting, and last year I made $6,000 total. I spent 6,500. I made 6,000, and it was doing like small projects. I was working with a lot of clients. I was doing a lot of work. I was exhausted. But this year already, I'm on point to make 15,000 in the first 3 months. And the only thing that's changed, like I had Brooke before, I had mindset work before. Literally the only thing that's changed is that I joined Diva Business School Mastermind, and I've taken that extra level of, you know, working on myself and figuring out how to be more of myself and embracing that. And it's working, right? Like, I couldn't pinpoint one thing working, but it's just like, it's snowballing.
Yeah.
Every single month. It's getting better.
Yeah. I think that, you know, it's so simple as when we, like, it's with the conversation we were talking about with Karin on Diva Business School this week. It's like when you become unleashed, uninhibited. What was her word? It was so good. It was better than that. It was better. Unrestrained. Yeah, we need to bring her in the conversation too. Let's just have let's bring everybody in the conversation and talk about it. But yeah, unrestrained. When women can get to that place where they're unrestrained, that is when they're the most creative. And I really do believe you just need four things, there's four areas that you need to focus on when you're growing your business, which is taking action, like innovation, being willing to go out, try something new, reevaluate, go out, try something new again. You've got to be able to stand up, right? Be seen and as the authentic version of you, the unique, only you. Like, there's one you, and that's it. And that's how people decide to work with you versus, you know, somebody else. And then you've got to have grace, which is like your experience in business, the way people feel when they work with you, the way that they talk, you know, like the things they're saying behind your back that are the good stuff, like the, you know, just the overall vibe that your business has. And then you have to have creativity. And I think creativity gets so lost in all of the restraints that we put on ourselves and what we can and can't do, and what's professional, what's not professional, and, you know, what we can get away with. And it's like, I feel like once you unleash the creativity, all the other stuff comes into play, right? If you're being your most creative self, people are also going to know who you are. Like, in that moment, they'll get to know you better, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And they'll get that vibe from you that will shift too when you're creative. And when you're creative, you have so many ideas, you're forced to take action on them because you're like, have abundant ideas. Like, I see so many entrepreneurs they have one idea. So they don't take action on it because if it goes bad, that was their only idea.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love that so much. That is such an amazing thing. So thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Okay, so I want to ask you at least one other question, maybe two. Well, number one, when are you going to hit six figures? I see that for you.
Oh yeah,
but like when? I see it soon.
I guess I see it as a December. That's my plan.
I think
it's like it happened before.
Generating
some of your insights.
Well, yeah, I think you'll be generating if you're at like 5,000 a month now, you'll be generating $8,000 a month pretty quickly. And if you can just like have a couple of regular $8,000 months instead of $3,000 months, like if you can have an entire quarter that's $8,000 months back to back, then that's the trend. You know how to do that, and I think then it will go up from there.
Yeah, I would say that's where I'm at. Like January was 1,500, February was 3,500, March is already 6,500, and I'm like, I know that I can make $4,000 more this month to hit $10,000 this month. And it's like, once I do it once, and I mean, I already have the clients. I mean, that's kind of been the cool thing that I've taken from coaching is like, I want to work with clients every month. Like, I just want to be engrossed in their business. I want to be their cheerleader. Yeah. Like, you know, if I can work with 5 or 6 women who I am just like completely in love and devoted to their business, and I stalk them and I'm like, here's what we can write to make this better. And like, oh my gosh, you know, like I'm just their biggest fan and I'm helping them market everything. And that's all it will take. I work with 6 women every month who are like, I just want you to be engrossed in me. Shower your marketing brilliance on me all the time. And that seems really simple. I can still do that working 2 days a week. Yeah. And I'm like, so, I mean, yeah, I see that I will have the ball completely like rolling very smoothly.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I said at the beginning of the year that I was on a mission to help at least 10 women this year make 6 figures. And I have another client that is about to have it happen for her. I've got lots of people out there that are like, you know, for sure going to happen. And then we've got people, you know, like Joanne, who's like killing it and going to make so much more. Like I'm pressing her to like, what? I'm like, you should make $500,000 this year.
Well, and when you said that, I was like, that's me. Like I already, you know, obviously there's some in January when it was like 1,500, like, there's still some level of like, I don't know how it's me, but it's me. Like I'm going to make $100,000. And my husband, that's been really fun to see. He's like, oh my gosh, I love my favorite hobby is to show him my PayPal account. I'm like, we can't take any money out of it. We just have to keep watching it get bigger. And his level of belief in it is like, oh my gosh, you are going to make $100,000 this year. And, you know, he's like, when are you going to make $1 million? He's like, I think I can retire when you make $1 million. I was like, okay.
If you can make 100K, then you're going to be able to make 250K. And if you make 250K, it's inevitable. You're going to make $1 million. Like, I know it for myself. I know it for my other clients who are at that like 250K mark. Like, I'm like, yeah, like, let's just do this. Like, let's make millions of dollars, travel the world and have amazing lives.
Yes. Why not?
That's my goal.
Why
not?
I mean, the alternative is that we watch Netflix and we have a life of just like doing the same thing every day. And like, we can change it. We can just choose something different. So why not?
I love that. I love that so much. Okay. One last question, and then I'm going to have you like tell them how to, like, anybody that's watching or watches in the replay, to how to contact you, and they should just like follow you. And, you know, one of my favorite things, well, this is what I was going to ask you, but I will also ask you your opinion. But one of my favorite things about the Diva Tribe is how, you know, amazing everybody is with following each other and supporting each other and doing business with each other. And I love that. So my last question for you is, what has been the experience of being in the mastermind with the other women? Like, what's been your experience in growth experience with the other women in the mastermind?
Yeah. So I love watching other people get coached, because so often it's exactly something that I needed coached on and just didn't even know how to say it. So I think that's one of the neat things is these women are, you know, from so many different areas and different types of businesses. But at the end of the day, we all have the exact same needs. And so it has been fantastic. I mean, the other part is just getting to show up, right? Like, it's good to show up for them. Like yesterday, Mandy had posted a question and I was like, oh, you know what? I can help with that. That sounds kind of marketing-ish. And then as we were talking through it, I was like, oh my gosh, I feel really stressed out. I can't answer this with marketing. This is mindset. And then I was like, you know what? Let me ask her these questions. I asked her the belief ones. And she was like, oh my gosh, you nailed it. And it just kind of gave me that, like, that continued, like, oh, good. You know, and so I would say, like, I learn from the other people. I get to support them which I love. Like, I told the women, like, the women who are going into the second round of Diva Business School, like, we're just going to be best friends. It's just, that's what it's going to be. Like, we're not going to spend a year together and not be best friends. So it's a great chance.
Yeah. And you guys are going to get to like meet and actually hug and have real life conversations with each other in Florida in August, which is going to be so much fun in that gorgeous house. Like, I just imagine us all sitting around the fireplace. Like, we probably won't even have the fire going on because it's Florida, but like, we'll sit around it and like drink our coffee or our tea in the morning. And, you know, maybe at night we'll have a fire just for the looks. And we're gonna have so much fun.
Like, who wouldn't dream of that? Like, oh my gosh, it's like the girlfriend party. Like, some of the women are like, oh, I just went to Florida with my 8 closest girlfriends. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you have 8 friends? Oh my gosh, you guys went to Florida? So I think it'll be so much fun. It'll be the start of what's going to be my new normal.
Yes. And, you know, I really think retreats are transformational. It's not just like the hanging out, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to do group coaching. Like, everybody's going to get one-on-one time with me. Like, you guys are going to get one-on-one time with each other. Like, it's just, every time I've been to a retreat and every time I've done one, you leave just a different person. And you never know when that different person's going to go out and make your dreams happen. Yeah. Like, that different person might go out and have a 20K month right after. Like, you might hit 6 figures in August.
That's right. I'm
September.
Gonna. Why not?
I love it. So happy for you.
That should be fun. I'm going to go to retreat in August, and I don't remember if it's at the beginning or the end, but I mean, I think
it's in the middle.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I'm going to come up with a plan for how I'm going to leave that next day and just follow your method of like, I'm going to go out and create so much value, and I'm going to have an offer that's, just so easy for people to give me tons of money because they're just like, oh my gosh, I have to.
Yes.
I'm going to have a $20,000 month.
Yes. I love it. That is amazing. Yes. All of the yeses. You have to do that. It's going to be so amazing. Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on. How can people follow you? Like, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Yeah, probably it's just clicking on my profile and hitting the friend request. And, I send everybody who friend requests me a little message like, hey, oh my gosh, thanks so much for friending me. What made you reach out? And so the people who are
amazing
are usually like, oh my gosh, I saw you on Stacey's thing, or I saw you here or there, right? And so that just kind of starts the conversation. And that's my favorite place. Like, I don't want to have friends that I haven't ever talked to. So yeah, friend request.
I like that. I need to get better at that.
Be brave and send me the first message. That's always fun. So
yeah. Oh, I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. Like, I'm really hoping, I think your story is inspiring. I think that people can get value just from watching this live and hearing you talk and watching the way that you show up and the way that you're thinking about your business. Like, truly, for anyone watching, if you're trying to grow your business, like, this is the mindset that I can see it. Like, I know when someone has the mindset of like multiplying their growth. And you definitely are in that space. You have it. You're doing all the right things. You're like really just showing up all of the time. And it's such an honor to work with clients like that. Like, I love it so much. So thank you so much for coming on and talking to everyone. And, hopefully if anybody is on the fence about, joining this mastermind or another mastermind with a different coach, like that, they'll be able to start seeing some of the success stories and say, wait a minute, maybe I need to like not try to do this on my own.
Well, and Stacey, thank you for having me. I'm so proud and honored to be, a success so far. And that's what I would say is like, thank you for showing up and doing this and for getting through your own fear and your own doubts and your willingness to just become this woman who's creating those ripples, right? For me, for all of the other women in Diva Mastermind, for the women who are watching this and are thinking to themselves, like, I'm so sick of this not working. How do I make this work? And, every day you show up and every day you give value and you are helping more women like me and like the people watching to fulfill.
And then you're helping me. And so many other women in Diva Business School. Like, that is my dream. Thank you for saying that. That is my dream, that we create such a big network and community that we always have someone that can help us with something that we do. And it's like trusted. It's like, instead of Angie's list, it's Stacey's list. Nice. The Diva list. It's the Diva list. I'm not even going to take credit for that. But yeah, I love that so much. And I'm so excited to see so many people from my, from my network saying like, I'm following Elizabeth or I'm working with Elizabeth and I'm really loving it. And, like I've seen in one of my clients, just her emails, like I've been responding back and being like, oh girl, your emails, they're amazing. They look fabulous.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Thank you.
You are so welcome. Okay, so everyone reach out to Elizabeth if you need help setting up lead pages, sales funnels, if you want marketing help, if you want marketing coaching, all the things, reach out to Elizabeth because she knows all the things about digital marketing.
Thank you, Stacey.
You're so welcome. All right, darling. I will talk to you later.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.